You alive. That's what it's saying. How are you, man?
Good, very good.
Good,
Great to
good,
see you,
good, man. I'm
brother.
so excited to have you on the show tonight. I'm sitting here, man, for all those who are listening, to all those who are checking us out tonight. First and foremost, Gregory Griffin's here tonight. I call myself Gregory the Activator because I'm always about getting you fired up. But this show is called the GG Factor, to inspire you, to empower you, to inform you, to educate you, and tonight to entertain you and entertain you. And I've got none other than the man himself. AJ's in the house. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure to have you here. You look marvelous, man. You still got that $1 million smile. It's still working, baby. Like I say, my mama told me, don't you lose that smile now, right?
Right, right.
So listen, man, I'm going to pull the music down in a minute, but I'm excited about you being here tonight. I'm not going to hold up much of the show. We had a few little technical things going on, but hey, we got through it, and you live with me tonight. Hey, Maru, are we okay back there? All right. I got my backup telling me that my wife let me know we good. So anybody else coming on, they got us tonight. So I'm going to pull the music down, man. Jump into this. I'm sorry you can't hear it, but it's bumping back there.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm making it official. I'm a musician, been a musician all my life. And this young man I met, man, I don't even want to tell you how many years ago. And it seems like yesterday. I can close my eyes. I can see you walking through the door of my town home back down there in Hialeah. You brought your little amp with you and you cranked that baby up and you hit bad back then. You hit some Michael Jackson. You fired the house up and I said, okay, I need not look any further. And from that day, man, you joined one of my first bands I put together and you hung out with me for at least a couple of years, man.
Yeah, correct.
So, and I'll say to this day, my brother, I'm grateful because it was because of you. Singers like Tessie Porter, Lisa Hanna. You remember a guy named Greg who was a guitar player like the same name as me? We all had a good time back then. And you know something, man? Who would imagine 3 or 4 decades later in our lives that you and I would be sitting here as entrepreneurs, sitting here still in the music business. I have a performance this weekend. I know you're working. You just got back from Disney. So I'm not going to do anything but shut up, man. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Tell us all about you. AJ Nilo's in the house, one of my best friends from the music business. And I'm honored to have you. You got it, my man.
Well, thank you very much. I'm, again, honored to be here. Basically, just give everyone a little background of I'm a kid. I started at 6 years old. I was born in Africa, raised in Canada. When my parents and I came to America, by the time I got here, my dad was working for the University of Hartford. And by that time, by 6 years old, I was hitting every pot and pan and every circuit constantly 24 hours. I was obsessed with drums and music, anything with music. And they could see it. And my dad approached the musical department and said, hey, my son is looks like he's really interested in playing the drums. Would you give him lessons? He said, sir, this is a college. We don't do kids. He goes, I understand that, but would you check him out? Well, I went one Saturday and he gave me a quick little audition. He goes, I'll take him. And I worked with, and I worked under him, learned from the ground up by 6. And while I was at the University of Hartford, like most musicians, we're very, very shy,
I got to stop you a minute. You just blew me away. Hey, Maru, you got to turn your volume down a little bit for me. Listen.
Yeah.
When you said, first off, that you're 6 years old.
Yeah.
You're not even playing guitar, which I know you're notorious for. You're telling everybody that you started out as a drummer, as a percussionist.
Yes.
And the funny thing about it, your dad went to the university and said, I want him to come in right now and do this. And guess what? The universe says yes. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm following you correctly. I want to make sure our listeners, our viewers are checking this out. You picked up drums first, beating on pots and pans, and now you're telling me the rest of the story. Go right ahead. I just want to make sure I followed you correctly, that it didn't start on guitar.
No, by far no. So I started with drums. By the time I was 10, I started really getting into the guitar. I started guitar and piano at 10 years old. And all of these instruments, I had teachers for, learned the real roots of music, learn how to read and all that good stuff. Kept playing music because it was my love and passion. Um, I started in middle school and then started to get the itch that, hey, I want to find some other kids my age to play.
Yeah.
And then got into junior high. They called it junior high back then. And I
Right.
was able to find some really good guys, really, really good. In fact, I played drums, and the guitar player in my very first little band was his name's David Cabrera, and he's been playing with Ricky Martin for almost 25 years now.
As a
Oh
guitarist.
no, 24. Yeah, he played guitar.
Okay.
But what
See,
was
AJ,
wonderful?
see, this is what's really blowing me out. Your first endeavors into anything musically wasn't guitar; it was all on drums. So, are you saying your first band that you even started, that you weren't a guitarist? That the first band you were a drummer?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was a drummer. I could even at that time, I was 13 years old. The guitar player had introduced me, opened my brain to funkier, more complicated music like Rush and Pat Travers was a big guitar hero of mine. But even at that age, at 13, 14, I could play Rush easily with my eyes closed. And then I got into I think it was ninth grade, and I was playing. Every high school has an assembly,
Right.
and they had the high school players or children come in to play for the junior high. And there is a friend of mine who's still my friend to this day, Scott Mygon. He was 2 years older than me. He came in and he played, and I lost my mind. At that moment, it was truly an epiphany that I had never ever seen another kid my age that
Right.
played so well with such attitude and vigor. He looked like a professional, like he was it.
Yeah.
And it was beyond inspiring to me. I ran home that day, picked up the guitar, and I never turned back. I
And that
kept
was ninth
moving.
grade. Was that ninth grade? You
That
said.
was ninth grade. Yeah. So you're about 15 years old, 15, 16.
Right.
Um, actually, yeah, 14, 15. And then got into high school. Once I got into high school, got another two guys and got my little band together. And we played all the parties and school assemblies. And we really started to put it together. And we had a great three-piece. All of us sang. And that was the real first journey. And then from there, graduated high school.
So, where did
Um,
you? What city and state did you graduate high school from?
I went to Hialeah, Miami Lakes, and graduated
Okay.
from there.
So
And
you were, when you came into the United States, you, because I missed something that I wanted to make sure I was following you correctly. When your dad was teaching, where was he? Where was your dad located? What school was this?
this was at the University of Hartford, Connecticut, in Connecticut.
Right. I knew I heard you correctly. So when did you come to South Florida?
My dad got another job. I'm not the true immigrant story, pure immigrant story. So he got another great opportunity at Florida Memorial College, and
Uh-huh.
that's what brought us here to South Florida. And then the journey started.
What did your dad teach?
He was first a philosopher, and then he taught philosophy at the University of, or should I say, Florida Memorial, and then he switched to be a librarian because he had
Right.
degrees in both. And then he ended his career as a librarian.
Excellent, excellent. Just see, I've already had a paradigm shift. I've already gone through, like, this kid telling me his first instrument was drum. This kid telling me he's from Africa. He comes to America. His dad gets a job up north. He comes to South Florida. He finally puts a little trio together, and somebody else played. Somebody else inspired him that was just like him, his age, and the rest is history. Because what I want to segue to that's most important, when you said, I found my passion. I really love music, but you found your passion just for music, but your true passion for the guitar and the industry that you're still in as a professional guitarist, it started in ninth grade at the age of 15. So,
Correct.
so at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, and remember, I said every single guest that I have, I'm always going to anchor them in the blueprint of the reality that it's your passion. And when it's your passion, my listeners, my viewers, whoever's out there, follow it, because that's your purpose. And when there's passion and purpose, you knock on the door and the universe will give you possibilities. And I can tell by the many years later that you and I, just by God's grace, that I'm out walking the other day and you say, hey, I'm in town, man. I love to come on your show. And I say, man, who better than AJ that's still doing his thing, man, and doing it on a professional level? And you now, I want to ask questions now that segue us a little forward. You left high school, you started your bands. How old were you when you walked to my house and auditioned for me?
I was about 18 or 19 years old. I had just put in a year of college. I switched gears and went into, it was the beginning, true beginning of computers. So I said, oh, let me get on that wave. Started to do that. But then I had met you. I got into the band. It was my very first top 40 band. And as you know, Greg, we started from ground up. Oh, yeah.
And that is why you're sitting here with me, my brother. I want people to understand the first and foremost thing about this, so you'll understand. I think it's about time for me to do a plug right now. I'm an author and a speaker. Let me reach over here and grab my books. I got them a little bit further away from me than I want them to be. These are my two books. They're behind me, but I'm holding them up in front of me. The reason why I'm doing that is because I believe sometimes we need a mentor. Sometimes we need people who inspire us, people who empower us, people who see what we can't see. That's my job. Every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, I'm just saying this to you. Your life will never be the same. I have the Strive Masterclass. It's an open door Zoom. It's free to anyone that wants to come in. All you have to do is go to theactivator.net, which is my website. You click on the link that says Zoom meeting and come in. I never knew I'd be an author, let alone one book, 2 books. I never knew I would be a real estate investor that I've been for well over 2 or 3 decades of my life. A lot of things that I've been able to do, I got mentors. So my plug tonight, I guess you can call it a detachment from the show a minute, AJ. I want people to know that I'm talking to you because at the end of the day, even when you get into whatever it is that you're going to do, it's still about relationships.
Yes.
No matter what happens, and you and I, 40 plus years ago, we formed a relationship. And when you said we started from ground zero, but what we started with was what? Passion. What we started with was knowing that we had a purpose. And we all had a link in the chain that was critically important. And I'm talking back then, man, and you and I can talk about it together. I'm giving people an unconditional plug to understand sometimes I became like a mentor to you. I became a guy like, okay, Greg has done everything I want to do. So I'm going to watch what Greg is doing. He's going to pour this into me and I'm going to move on with my life. And I'm going to have the foundation I need to move on. And AJ, obviously, you got the right foundation. You understood how a band works. You understood how everything about the inside part of the business work. And you and I, being African-American in South Florida in the 80s, going into the 90s, and me being an African-American band leader was very, very rare.
Yes.
It was hard to even accept, you know, and a lot of times we went to these clubs, you know, they always went to the guy that didn't look like us as the band leader everywhere I went. So all I'm saying to you is that to have those moments in our lives, to endure through that, to understand that, you know, when there's truly a will, man, there's always a way. And I just wanted to give an unconditional plug about what it means to create relationships and create them with passion, because what happened, we found what I call the system. You know, save yourself time, energy, and money. We stuck together. We didn't leave. We had our rehearsals right there upstairs in my home, and we went out. We did showcases, and I will never forget when we finally land jobs and could say, "Hey, man, we're finally making some money. We're finally feeling like the professionals that we want to be." So, just wanted to stop for a minute, plug the books, plug that my Zoom webinar every Thursday at 7 p.m. All you've got to do is go to theactivator.net, click the link. Maru, I was going to ask you if you could put in the chat for me. Put the activator.net in the chat for me, if you would, Maru. I appreciate it. So just wanted to put that plug in, man. I want to get back to where we stopped. You got the band with me, your first band. you got the energy that's unbelievable. And let me tell you something. Listening to you that day, man, I'm telling you, it was a game changer. And I never ever forget when you walked out of my house. I told my wife that my young son Jonathan's mom, Anita, I said to her, "Wow, man, this young kid just came here like he owned the room, and
Whoa.
you really laid it down, man. And honestly speaking, I'm not surprised to hear that you're staying power. I'm not surprised to hear of your longevity. So take us forward now. You've been through the band with me. Let's say now you've been through what we've done through. You've got your foundation, and you realize I can do this. I'm getting paid. I'm in South Florida. What happened? When did you get your first? I'm going to say, did you stay on the circuit? You played just like me for years and years and years, and then you had a pivot. You got an opportunity to go out and become a world-class touring guitarist, and that's a big difference. That's not the club circuit. For anybody listening to me right now, this is when this gentleman, when I say world-class guitarist, he can quantify that. So tell us about it. How did your first world tour, how did your first tour with a professional recording artist come along?
Okay, so I'm going to take you through a journey of, I've always called it a universal journey. So as a kid, I'm a kid of the 80s. And when I, of course, just getting into guitar, I heard this one song one day, and I said, "Oh my God, who is this?" And it was the band Van Halen. So Van Halen
Uh-huh.
was my favorite band on earth. I knew every song, bought every record, went to every show, probably the only black guy at every show. But I soaked it in
I
like
love
a
it.
sponge. Now, everyone should know times have changed. When we were younger in the 80s or earlier, music is extremely segregated.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you were black, you were, and you didn't play R&B or soul or what people thought you should.
Hello.
You were, they would make comments or what the heck is this? Now, for some reason, unbeknownst to me, there is something in my brain that always said, I like what I like and I want to do what I want to do. Music has no color. So you can't tell me what to do.
Hello.
And also, even when I was very young, I could tell. Oh, it's always with my parents and every young black family says, especially if you want to do anything in America, and if you're black, you have to be 100 times better than the next person. It's just a fact.
Mhm.
So, because I was one of the rare people that I'm a black kid that played rock and roll, but I
Right.
love all music. I had a passion to learn all styles, whether it be flamenco, pop, jazz, anything. I would learn it. But my favorite was, say, rock and roll. But so by that time, when I got to you, Greg, it started to formulate who I was going to be. I started to change my hair,
Mhm.
started to you remember back then it was very flashy. And then I said, you know what? If you're going to play this music, you got to work harder, 100 times harder. So I'm developing, and that hard work was beginning to pay off. Where other musicians, I got into a really, really great top 40 band,
Yes.
and I had been within the band called Pangea. We played every single style of music you could actually think of. And the best thing about in the 80s, like you and I, Greg, we worked 6 nights a
That's right.
week.
6 nights a
Six.
week. You're absolutely
So,
right.
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 So you can imagine when you're a young musician or artist, I had 6 nights to every night get better and better and figure things out constantly. So the band was really, really good. We happened to play at the Clevelander, and out of the blue, our agent Cliff Walker, who you
Yes.
know, with, he gave us a call and said that this lead singer of Van Halen, David Lee Roth, who had already left Van Halen for a couple of years, many years, had a couple albums, wanted to do something totally different and wanted a Vegas act. And back then in the early 90s, the Gloria Stefan and the Miami Sound Machine, they were the ones that brought the world to Florida, musical world to Florida.
Correct.
Um, because of that, I always kept my ears and eyes open that people, my other peers, were getting tour jobs. Oh, this person got on this person album. Oh, this person. And I knew, oh man, I just have to network. Networking is your life's blood.
I got to stop you right there. We have to, because let me tell you something. First and foremost, when you mentioned Gloria Estefan, you do know that my sister Ruby Baker was on Gloria Estefan's one of her last world tours. You know that my sister was out there, and she just went out there and had an incredible time. You know, Ruby Baker, who I'm speaking of, who I brought to South Florida. Took her to, you remember September's back then, the club September? She was one of the few girls in this town. They bought her a BMW. They bought all of her stage clothes. And let me tell you something, the rest is history. She became the icon in South Florida. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Through her networking, someone saw her at September. No, I'm sorry. Someone saw her. I'm working with my sister at the Pier 66. Remember the revolving top Pier 66?
Heck yeah.
We were working there together. Ruby got an opportunity. She left to go on tour. I kept the gig there, and the rest is history. The same thing with her clubs in the African-American community. The black club called the Jazz Club down in Miami, down in the Carol City, Miami.
Yeah.
All those jobs my sister left, I kept them. And I'm going to tell you something, man. You said two things that are critically important. You start networking. You start doing what you loved to do in a way that everybody else noticed it, and the rest is history. So I just wanted to interject right there. When you said networking, when you mentioned Gloria Estefan, I said, I got to give my sister an unconditional plug because 100%. She did exactly what you're doing. She continued to say, I got to get out. Remember, God said this, and I'll carry it to my grave. Relationships will always be the new currency. It's never old. A new relationship is new currency. And you know, no matter how great you are, man, you got to know somebody.
Have to.
It's simple as that. So, you know, every now and then I'm going to pop in and piggyback off you because you're saying things and one thing you said too, and I'll let you go ahead and continue. AJ, it's funny. I'm just like you. People thought I was crazy when I was a kid because I love Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
I love Three Dog Night. I love Buddy Miles.
Yeah.
You know, I love all these rock and roll bands, and it was something about the energy in rock and roll. And you know something? Here's the funny thing, and I'll share this with you. Our first guitar player was a black guy named Andre Walker, who we all were like family to, but that was our first band. But when we wanted to play more rock and roll, we went into, I don't know if you remember Western Auto stores or not. They were like the Radio Shack back then.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
We walked into a Western Auto. We was looking for an amplifier. We wanted to buy a new one for our PA system. And a white boy walked in and picked up a guitar. And he hit some Hendrix, man. And everybody looked like that. And guess what? 2 days later, he was in our band.
There you go.
From that day on, from kid days, all the way through until I left my band Trauma, we always had a white guitarist.
Interesting.
And because the feel of the rock and roll, and you know, everybody really thought we were a funk rock group. You remember Mother's Finest, I'm sure.
Oh man, they were one of my favorites as a kid.
And we used to sneak in the Performing Arts Center and watch them. And Donna Allen, who was our lead singer, I will never forget one night Donna walked up on the stage and grabbed the mic, and Joyce was looking at her, and because she knows she sounds just like that girl.
That's right.
So man, it was like, and from that moment on, we bought knee-high boots. I got spandex uniforms with all the sequin stuff on them. And when I came to South Florida, it was kind of strange because, you know, we were dressed in that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I knew that's why my connection was with you the way it's been, because innately we were already connected that way, man. You know, and now that you've shared these things, it's incredible. So I just wanted to pull that in, man, because it's so entwined with the reason why I wanted you to be here tonight, because you're truly expressing exactly what I tell people about when there's passion and purpose, and you just keep drilling, man, like you've done. You're still in this business. You're still digging, man. You're still doing your thing. You know, my wife came up and said, hey, man, let him talk. I say, listen, I got to make sure I piggyback off my man, because I want people to know that you are a true example of staying power, a true example of longevity, and more importantly, my brother, passion.
Man,
Because
thank you very
you're
much.
still in this business like I'm still in this business. Whether you're
Amen.
a rock star or not, you still getting what you can say unprofessional because you go out and play and somebody hand you money. I forget I get paid, bro. So go right ahead. You took me up to Glorious to Farm. You
Right.
took me up to going to David Lee Roth. I don't want you to lose no trend. I got you
Sure.
right there. I
Oh,
know
I
where you're
got
at.
you.
Go right ahead, man.
So our band was playing at the Clevelander, and David Lee Roth's manager was down in South Beach, happened
Uh-huh.
to see us, and he sat there for a little while and really dug us. He called Dave and said, Dave, I think I have your band. Because David, at that point, he had already gone through Steve Vai and real flashy guitar players, as flashy as Edward Van Halen. And he wanted to separate himself from that. So he
Mhm.
wanted a full band. So he called Dave. Dave flew down one day to the Clevelander and watched us perform. And
Nice.
then right then and there, he came up, guys, I really like you. I'd like you to be my band. And he told us what he wanted to do. He wanted a Vegas review of both Van Halen songs and some jazz and mambo,
Yeah.
a real Vegas act. So, of course, this was every dream you could ever imagine come true. Oh my
No
goodness, this is
doubt.
so great. Now, what I want to really impress or tell people, there are two things that happen. There's one thing to have the dream, but when the dream becomes reality,
Yes.
that's where the work comes in.
Oh, yeah.
So, since I was young, I was very, very good at diligently being able to rehearse. I rehearse really well, and I come in always prepared. But though I'm prepared, I had never been so nervous in my entire life. The nerves and anxiety, as I'm a small guy, I
Yeah.
lost 10 pounds.
Okay.
And I was still doing the job. I was getting in there. And there'd be many times it's just Dave and I. This is my idol. I'm in the room alone with him. So I'm just shaking like a
No
leaf.
coincidence, baby. No coincidence.
Right? No coincidence. Oh, by the way, speaking of the universe, ironically, in high school, I happened to have got backstage passes and met them, all four of them, in high school before 11 years actually making it reality. So that was very interesting.
Look at that.
Again, put your mind where you want
Right.
it.
That's
And
right.
put it out into the energy. So my nervousness was way too over the top. Um, and this is what I would love to encourage people. It's human to be nervous, to be scared, to
Right.
have anxiety. But I wanted this too much. I had worked my entire life for this moment. And I
Yes.
said, I'm not gonna give this up, but I can't be so nervous. I'm gonna fall apart come showtime. Ironically, I always taught guitar. I happened to have a young kid that his father was a licensed hypnotherapist. I was able to track the young man down and got his dad's number, spoke to him, and I said, he said, what is it you need? And I said, I want to, if it's possible, feel like I'm in the garage, hanging out with your buddies, having the best time, just jamming, just
Right.
relax, having fun.
Right.
And release all this
Yeah.
that little voice that keeps telling you, oh, you're not good enough, you don't belong here. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So went to his house. He happened to have beautiful. He had a velvet voice, and he put on new age music. And just like on TV, he put me on a little couch, and did his thing. And unbeknownst to me, I fell asleep. And then that was 30 years ago. So I only technically did one session. But what he did was to teach me that from that day on, I learned our entire universe is up here.
That's right.
So when he taught me how anxiety is something that creeps up on you, it's not about you. It's a small part of you, and most likely to save your life when needed. But when you don't need it, he taught me how to control it.
Uh-huh.
So yes, anxiety rises like you put water in a glass, and
Exactly.
then you can learn with your mind meditation to calm it down. So I used it diligently every day. Even it took me, honestly, easily 3 to 4 years to get a hold of nervousness. So I've been
Let
doing
me
all
say
the
this.
big shows.
My wife handed me a paper. Miriam handed me this paper. She said he learned how to fear the fear and still get the job done anyway. Because it sounds to me like no matter what the anxiety was, and you said mindset is everything. It is absolutely everything. So I'm just really grasping the fact, and you see, here's what's scary about it. It happens to all of us.
Yes.
All of I'm so glad that you could be authentically transparent. I appreciate that, AJ, because you're letting people know that everybody's going to go through something. And I always say you got to go through to get to it. So now
that's
to
why I'm
make
here.
sure we can follow you, I can follow you better. So during this whole time you're doing these therapy sessions and stuff, you're still with the David Roth band. You're still doing your thing with them.
Yes.
How long did that last?
Well, it lasted about a year and a half, and I'm going to roll and tell you a little interesting story that, so we had only rehearsed with David for 2 weeks. After the second week, unfortunately, David felt the drummer, he was not happy with the drummer and felt he needed to make a change. The drummer was the leader of the band. So he asked, he goes, look, I understand you all came in as a group, but I'm going to ask each individually, would you like to stay or would you like to go? Out of the 5 people in the band, I was the only person that said, I'm going to stay.
That's right.
And now why I say this or bring this up is that when the really big either challenge or the opportunity of a lifetime comes to you, that is the scariest part. And for me, I had vowed in my head, I wanted it and worked too hard to let it go and just, okay, whatever. I said to myself, if I'm going to go down, at least I put 100% of who I am into it. And there's nothing more that I can do. Everything else will be.
You maximize the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You maxed it out.
I did. So everybody else left. I was the only one that stayed. And then all the rest of the guys in the band most of the guys were from Miami Sound Machine. And so I'm a baby with all these professionals. And again, the little voice is saying, you don't belong here. Rah, 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 rah. But I said, no, take it to the end. And I did it. So I got out there. And it was through getting through the David Lee Roth experience. We did Vegas, Reno, the West Coast Foxwoods. It was the most incredible experience of a lifetime. But after doing it, I was able to exhale and say, wow, I did it. Yes. And you know what? It wasn't that bad. And that, again, promoted me. Oh, I want this. I want more of this. Now, what most people don't know, as whenever you see background musicians, there is no agent. There is no, it's all about you. You have to sell yourself, in order to get the job. So I had figured, David Lee Roth is world renowned. Oh, my phone's going to ring off the hook. Rah, rah, rah. No. Network.
And like I said, you gotta just go with me when I feel I have to drop nuggets that are coinciding with the reason why I have this show to say what inspire you and empower you. You are telling a lot of things that I myself never even knew that you had experienced. And one thing about it is something I call tact. And I think I'm gonna just say this again. You get tenacity and audacity to function in the capacity when you realize that you got to go through to get to. And AJ, you just clearly laid it out there that you had to go through to get to. And you made a big major decision. I'm sure all those guys that you grew up with around here and did things in South Florida with probably wanted you to stay with the clique. But and you know something, you couldn't have made a better decision because that those same musicians, somebody in that same band, I'm sure, like I experienced being a band leader, got offered a job and they got back to South Florida. They went to somebody else, or somebody got offered something and went to somebody else. So you did the right thing, and but you just said it. That was a stepping stone, but you had to do what? Network, create the relationships, and when you got that kind of tag mentality, honestly, nothing can stop you.
Blessed.
And clearly, nothing stopped you. And you sensed, you kind of reminded me of Simone Biles when you talked about your mental condition. You talked about the anxiety and the imbalance that you were feeling. That I love that you shared that, man, because that's priceless. That you can go through something, recognize that there's something going on, and reposition yourself. You know, I lost you on the live stream. Now, can you see me? I don't see you anymore, AJ. We lost you for a minute. Well, I'm going to keep talking about what AJ was talking about. I hope that he'll get back on the stream here. But I just learned so much from my old friend here. Got to realize I hadn't seen AJ in quite a few years, as a matter of fact.
There we go.
So
Sorry
you're back.
about that, everybody.
I was just going to keep talking
Lost
to
you there.
Back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I hear you and I see you. I'm glad you're back. You know?
He was given the gift by his father that they believe in him.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. My wife was just sharing something with me that she said, wow, can you hear me? Can you hear me back?
Somehow I lost you.
Well, do you see me? Nothing? We see you. I see you, man. Can you hear me?
Now I do, yes.
Okay, it was probably just the stream had to get back. And what happened while you were down, I was just telling the man, I'm just blown away with what your life story has been that I never knew. And I love that you shared that with me, because I have something that I do every week on my seminar, on my webinar, and it's talking about the fear monster.
Yes.
You have to feel the fear and still feel you can get the job done anyway. And once again, I'm going to make another unconditional plug. Every Thursday night, my Zoom webinars are free. All you have to do is go to theactivator.net, click on the link, come in. You can get that tenacity I'm talking about. You can get assistance with your passion. Some people need to take an aptitude test of where they in mind, body, and spirit. Or why are they living with imbalance? Why are they living with chaos? And the program that I have is called the Personal Empowerment Recognition Program for one reason. We are captains of our own ships.
Yes.
And sometimes we think we got it all together, but sometimes you need someone to help you navigate through those changes. So my webinar offers you the opportunity to find personal growth, to find the balance versus imbalance, because you live with imbalance for a long time, and that imbalance is what I call organized chaos. And my job as your mentor, I have a $3 a day, $97 a month Get Activated community. You spend more than that on Starbucks. So unconditional plug, since we're kind of just clipping back in, go to theactivator.net, share this link with your friends. If you bring a friend and you come in together, I got something special for you. Anyone that joins gets a copy of my book, also Activate or Stagnate. And this is what it's all about. How you can stay activated. We all procrastinate. Everyone's a procrastinator. The one mistake we make is staying there too long.
100%.
When you stay there too long, you stagnate. And people can live in stagnation and just work a job for 10, 15 years. They don't realize it. So I just wanted to make a plug right now that my call to action on Thursday nights, free Zoom webinar. Come in. It costs you nothing to hang out with me. I can help you take a personal assessment of yourself, find out where is your imbalance, and we can definitely say life is always about, and you just said it, defining yourself, activating your true identity for the next level. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, man. We got about 10 minutes here, maybe, well, 8 minutes, but I'm just happy that you showed up tonight.
Thank you so much. I'll share with you because we are short on time. So I'm going to condense what I was about to say. That so I was on my musical journey, had been very, very blessed to do. At this time, I've done 4 tours with Shakira, Billy Myers, and then I started with Joss Stone. So we were doing touring, and I was beginning to start a family. But by the early 2000s, as we all know, when music was beginning to be for free, it changed the entire landscape of the business. in which the opportunities as a musician started to get smaller and smaller. Your pay was getting smaller. If you do a tour like with David Lee Roth, heck, we rehearsed for almost 3 months. That rarely ever, unless you're Beyonce, that doesn't happen anymore. They don't have
Exactly.
the money for that. Yeah, get it together in a couple of days or a week, and then you go. So,
Mhm.
I was really scared and worried. I had 2 young children under 4, and I was like, "What's going on? I got to do something. I got to do something." And I was
Who
getting,
had you toured with up to this point? Can you tell us,
oh yeah,
professionally speaking, so that I don't leave people hanging when I say to them that this is a global professional guitarist? Give us some names. You kind of just threw Shakira in there like that was just something to do, but that's a global artist, baby.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I want you to be real specific now, because I want people to understand you're not just some guitar player just showed up on my show tonight. You are a global artist. Who were some of those professional artists that you work with, that you toured with, or even did studio work with? I'd like you to kind of put your little resume on display for a moment and let us
Thank
know
you.
a little bit before you segue to the fact that you are an entrepreneur, and we'll wrap it up on your entrepreneurial track. But please tell us about that, man. That's
All right.
critically important.
So I've been blessed. Well, after the David Lee Roth tour, I was lucky enough to get with Shakira, and that was my first real tour. Where even back then, this was 1997, my office was a football stadium 4 nights a week. She
Mm-hmm.
packed it. She at the time was the #1 Latin artist throughout all of South America. So I went throughout Central South America and Europe. Um, and and really expanded. Was still working on my anxiety, and every show gets better and better. From her, I was able to get Billy Myers, and then Joss Stone, who's an international R&B singer.
Yeah.
And then, so I toured the world. I'm constantly going back and forth and get to see and experience so many great things. But going back to my financially was getting scary. And you have to know, when you are a professional, I'm a professional sideman. It's wonderful and it's beautiful and gravy. But when the tour ends, your money ends.
That's
You're
right.
only good to hang around for 2 weeks, and then you have to hunt.
That's right.
And it was getting too scary. My brother-in-law happened to come down to South Florida, and he says, "Wow, man, this is the perfect place to open a business." I said, "What?" My brother-in-law owns his own environmental business,
Mm-hmm.
where environmental meaning he tests for environmental allergens and mold. And Florida is the perfect place to open a mold business. So
Mm-hmm.
he told me everything about it. I said, "Oh, this makes sense," because I needed music is beautiful,
Stability.
but you,
You
oh,
needed
sorry,
stability. You needed stability. You know,
bingo,
no
bingo,
doubt.
that needed my anchor.
Yes.
So I worked under my brother-in-law was wonderful to open up a satellite business here. I worked under him for 10 years. Now, also coming back to the mindset, I had 2 parts in my life. I have never been so terrified in my entire life. Was my very first professional gig and starting my own business. I was
Mhm.
terrified. But again, I'm the kind of person that said, I have no choice. I have to do this.
Hello.
There is no turning back. There is no net.
No
So
plan
I
B.
went for it. And the more I did it, the more I did it. Every day you get a little better. You learn from your mistakes.
Mhm.
And then after about a year, I go, well, that's not that bad. And that's what I want to explain to everyone. Be nervous, be anxious, but don't ever let it stop you,
Yes,
because
sir.
it's the goal at the end that means everything. Not making excuses for yourself.
Boy,
You
boy,
want
boy,
it.
boy. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, man. I can't, I'm gonna lean in and say thank you so much, because people don't understand that there are no real failures, just only feedback. And they always say it always seems impossible until it's done. What's his name? Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. So from what you just shared with me, that man, it's a game changer. And you did exactly what I did in my life. You remember the Pickles Club circuit? I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah.
I'm working Pickles 6 nights a week, come home from a gig one night, go to work the next night. AJ, my job is gone. They told me I had a job next week. It is exactly what you went through. Everything dried up, but let me tell you something. It's the same thing you said. I needed stability. I went back to school. I got a master's degree. The rest is history. So, man, I'm hearing you and I'm feeling you. You know, what is the name of your company? I want my wife just asked me. Make sure you disclose that, and I'll put it in the description afterwards.
I own Quality Mold Inspection, and I'm a licensed mold inspector, especially now summer's coming. Whenever people have problems that they actually, either they think they have mold or actually physically see mold, I basically give them the information of what type of mold, give them their protocol, also on how to get it fixed with a restoration company.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing that for the last 20 years on top of
and
my
this,
music.
and this mold business is your LLC, your S Corp. This is your business, right?
That's correct, which I actually made a family business. So now my son, my 23-year-old son, he works with me. My wife works with me. So we made it a family reality.
Wow. So you know, we never you never disclosed to me your status in life. You are married. You say you have 2 kids.
Two
and
kids.
What are their ages?
21, 23.
Wow.
Boy, girl. Yeah.
Boy, girl.
Yeah.
Are they musicians?
They are musically inclined. They do their own thing, but they don't have that twisted thing to want to play for everybody.
Got it.
To show off, basically.
But they play instruments too.
Yes, my son, he plays keyboards. He knows how to put together a song. He can put together raps and his own music. My daughter, she just loves music on her own, and she's a great singer.
Well, I know it's innately, intrinsically, inherently inborn in them. I always say the 4-eye effect is always there. Sometimes you just got to activate it. You know, just like your dad did for you, it could happen. And I was just curious about that. So listen, I'm going to wrap it up because I realize it's about 8 o'clock. But man, let me tell you something. You shared so much tonight, man. You know, I got a total paradigm shift. I've always had, obviously, the ultimate respect for you as a talent, but as a human being right now, as a young man who's been through so much and endured through it all, and to tour with the global artists that you've been with, man, and do what you've done, it speaks for you. And you know, you're still in the business.
I'm off to Austria tomorrow.
See?
Go figure.
Wow.
See?
Yeah.
You see? So, and you know, man, all I can tell you is this. That is why I love teaching, but there's a reason why I became a teacher. I knew I would have flexibility. I knew I wouldn't have to totally detach from my love of music. And as a result of that, when I came to the conclusion that, you know what, I have 2 sons, Greg Jr., Jonathan, and granddaughter Alyssa. And when I had Greg Jr., I was a kid right out of high school. And I learned so much about what I wasn't going to do the next time I become a parent. And man, let me tell you something. When I decided, I got my undergraduate in business, I said, well, what do I want to do? Dear God, I don't want to give up music. And I didn't. And the rest seriously is history, man. And all I can say to you is that even when you and I started our bands together back there in the 80s, I did all of that until 1991 when my son was born, for 7 straight years full time. And I realized, and I totally concur with you. I thank you so much for sharing your story tonight. One other thing I want you to tell people is this, man. Just you tell them how to get in touch with you if they want something for the mold business. If you give me all the information once we get off, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it in the description, and that this video will be there for them to access. It's not going to come down. I'll leave it there. And I just want to say to you, man, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for having me. Wonderful. And all the best to everyone. Follow your dreams all the way.
Bottom line. Say that again. Follow what?
Follow your dreams all the way. All the way.
You know, I always say, like Donna McClurkin said, we fall down, but we get up.
Yes, absolutely.
We fall down, but we get up. AJ, you fell down so many times, but the spirit in you didn't keep you down, my brother. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. One unconditional plug I want to make before we get off the air tonight is this. Every Thursday night, call to action. I can't leave this show without making sure people know, if you need if you need a coach, if you need someone to help you realize that you can get through it. But sometimes one of my mentors told me this. He went on to play Division I basketball, and he found somebody watching him, and he didn't know it, AJ. And the man watched him every day practicing, and he was practicing the wrong way. And he made some corrections, listened to that man, and he used himself as an example. Sometimes you need someone to monitor what you're going through. So as the activator, my job is to be that for you. You can come into my camp, $97 a month, or if you want extensive, what I call MPC community, which is maximum potential coaching, go to theactivator.net. There are 2 links there for you to click. We're there every Thursday night. Please tell somebody about us. Tell us that we're here to inspire. We're here to empower people on Tuesday nights, but what we do is micromanage you on Thursday. We find out where are you? Where are those areas that you have concern? See, we are mind, body, and spirit, AJ. You know that.
Oh, yes.
You obviously still look good. You obviously still taking care of yourself. And people make a lot of money, but they forget that health is your wealth. People make a lot of money. They forget that the real power is within them. People make a lot of money, but they think it's all cognitive. But you are mind, body, and spirit. That's my job as the activator, to help you live a lifestyle that will reflect balance, because balance is humanitarian. So with that said, tonight, I'm going to say good night to you, my brother. I thank you so much. And I'm going to click this screen off. You hang out with me a minute. But AJ Nilo, God bless you that you still continue to do what you're doing, because guess what? By no coincidence, you are supposed to. I had one of my questions here was, are you planning to retire anytime soon? That was the only question I had for you. And you say, no. See, not at all. Not at all. And you know something? I would have been shocked if you would have said, Greg, I'm a little tired, and I think I want to clock out. I would have been shocked. I had the right vibe going. So like me, I have no idea when I want to stop playing music. You know, all I can say to you is this. Please, my wife just said to tell you this, my brother. You have a good trip. May God continue to bless you, be with you. And I'm going to log off and say to you, man, thank you for the opportunity. Be blessed.
Same here. Thank you.
All
All the best, everybody.
So